Good morning, dear children. Welcome back to our science online class. Children, in our last class, we started a new lesson: weather, seasons, and climate. Children, what is weather? The daily condition of the atmosphere is called weather. Weather means how hot, cold, sticky, or rainy a day is. And when the weather is continuing for many days, we call the time a season. There are 5 seasons are the summer, winter, rainy, autumn and spring. Children, why do the seasons change? The season changes because the earth revolves around the sun and the earth axis is tilted to its orbit. Children, what is equator? Equator is an imaginary line which divides the earth into two equal halves. That is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Children, in June, the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun. As the earth rotates, the places northern hemisphere remain in the sunshine longer, which means more heat. Hence they have summer. But in southern hemisphere it is tilted away from the sun. So they will get less amount of heat and they have winter in June. Children, we know the earth is revolving around the sun and in December the northern hemisphere tilted away from the sun and they will get less amount of heat. Hence they have winter season. And in southern hemisphere it is tilted towards the sun, hence they have summer season. And in March and September no part of the earth tilts more towards the sun, so they get an equal amount of sunshine. In March, northern hemisphere has spring and the southern hemisphere has autumn, and in September the north has autumn and the south has spring. Children, in today's class we are going to learn about climate and why climates are different. Let's continue the topic. Children, what is the climate of a place? The kind of weather a place generally has its climate. The kind of weather a place generally has its climate. And the climate of a place depends on many things. They are distance of a place from the equator, the height of a place, and third one, wind and rain. Which are they, children? Distance of a place from the equator, the height of a place, and wind and rain. First one, distance of a place from the equator. Children, the climate of a place depends on how far the place is from the equator. We all know what is equator. Equator is an imaginary line which divide the earth into two equal halves, that is northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Then we divide the earth into three zones according to the general climate in these areas. They are torrid zone, temperate zone and frigid zone. Which are the three zones, children? Torrid zone, temperate zone and frigid zone. The area around the equator is called torrid zone or hot zone because this area get direct rays of the sun. This place will be very hot. Then next is temperate zone. They will get less amount of sunlight. So this place is neither too hot nor too cold. The next one is frigid zone. They will get very least amount of sunlight. So this place is very cold. Which are the three zones, children? Torrid zone, temperate zone and frigid zone. Then the area around the North Pole is called Arctic. Which is Arctic? The area around the North Pole is called Arctic and the area around the South Pole is called Antarctic. Okay, we divide the earth into three zones. Torrid zone, this area get more amount of sunlight. They get direct rays of the sun. So this place is very hot. The area around the equator is torrid zone. Then next to that, temperate zone. They will get less amount of sunlight. So this place is neither too hot or nor too cold. The next one is frigid zone. They will get least amount of sunlight. So these places are very cold. Next, the height of a place. Children, the climate of a place depends on its height. That means it depends on whether the place is in the hills or in the plains. In hilly region, the climate is remain cold when compared to the climate of the other places. In the mountain region, the climate is very cold throughout the year. That's why people go to hill station for their summer holidays. Next one, wind and rain. Children, the climate of a place depends on the amount of rain a place gets in a year. Most of India is warm. For example, the parts of Rajasthan, they are very hot and dry because they are getting very less amount of rain. But in places like Kerala, they are warm and wet. Rainfall depends on many things. It depends how far a place is from the sea. In places near the sea, wind blows in from the sea carrying clouds. Children, you know what causes wind? When some part of the earth gets heated by the sun, the air above it becomes hot. Hot air is lighter than cold air, so it rises. And the cold air from the surroundings area rushes in to take its place. That's how winds blow. And the places near the sea get cool sea breeze, so they are not very hot. Children, the kinds of plants and animals you find in a place depends on its climate. For example, the tree that grow in the mountains of our country that do not grow in plains. Similarly, the trees that grow in the warm and wet place of our country cannot grow in the hot, dry parts. Like that, animals also, we cannot find the polar bears and penguins in India. Where they live, children? They live in the cold regions. And you will not find elephants and camels in icy land. Children, let's discuss the book back exercise. Fill in the blanks. First one, the Arctic and Antarctic are dash zones. Children, the Arctic and Antarctic are frigid zones because they are getting very least amount of sunlight. Second, the kinds of plants that grow in places depends on its climate. The kinds of plants that grow in places depend on its climate. Third one, wind blowing in from the dash carry clouds. Winds blowing in from the sea carry clouds. Fourth one, the southern hemisphere has dash in June. The southern hemisphere has winter in June because it is tilted away from the sun. Then fifth one, a place with dash climate neither too hot or nor too cold. A place with a temperate climate is neither too hot nor too cold. Next, match these. The imaginary circle going around the middle of the earth. The imaginary circle going around the middle of the earth is equator. Second, imaginary line around which the earth rotates. The imaginary line around which the earth rotates, earth's axis. Third one, the path of the earth around the sun is earth's orbit. Fourth one, the northernmost point of the earth is North Pole. And the area around the South Pole is Antarctic. Write true or false. First one, hot air is heavy, so it sinks. Is it true, children? No, it is false. Hot air is lighter than cold air, so it rises. So this is false. Second, the climate of a place depends on its height. Is it true, children? Yes, the climate of a place depends on the height. So it is true. Third one, the area around the equator is called temperature. Is it true, children? No, it is false. The area around the equator is called torrid zone. Then fourth one, mountains have warm climate. Is it true? No, this is also false. Mountains have very cold climate. Fifth one, direct rays give more warmth than slanting rays. Is it true? Yes, it is true. Direct rays give more warmth. Children, what we learned today? We learned about weather, seasons and climate. What is weather, children? Weather is the daily condition of the atmosphere. Weather means how hot, cold, sticky or rainy a day is. Then what is season, children? When the weather is continuing for many weeks, we call the time season. Then what is climate? The kind of weather a place generally has its climate. Then we learned about why the seasons change. Children, what makes the seasons change? Season changes because Earth revolves around the Sun and the Earth's axis is tilted to its orbit. Then we learned about different climate. The kind of climate a place has depends on many things. And then we learned about why climates are different. Children, the climate of a place depends on many things. They are the distance of a place from the equator, second the height of a place, and third is wind and rain. Children, we can see different kinds of plants and animals in different regions. The kinds of plants and animals you find in a place depends on its climate. For example, the trees that grow in mountains of our country do not grow in plains. And the animals like polar bears and penguins we can find in colder regions. Okay, and we will not find elephants and camels in icy land. Children, hope you all understood about the lesson weather, seasons and climate. Then write your classwork very neatly and learn fill-ups and question answers. And try to do the activity also. Thank you.